Hello, hello. It's another episode of HAHNEMAN'S podcast, and we have absolutely lovely guest, which we met relatively recently. Was it recently? I don't remember actually.
It was recently, but it was a blessing to meet her.
Liz became known for her stunning network in her business capacity, and she decided to help others by connecting those who need to find investors, need to find ways to develop their business, ways to connect. She is founder of HiNet Connect 500, isn't it? That's the right name? Yes. I'm very proud of myself. And she is an amazing mathematician. This is what I remember from our conversations.
Yes.
She's absolutely wonderful person.
Yes, and today's theme will be our topic that we will be talking about will be about business, because that's what Liz specializes in. That's what she's very good at. Apart from being an incredible human being, amazing lady, she's also knows a lot about business, and it's really good for you to bring it here to us to discuss, because what we found, me and Daria, as we have business together, female business and male business differ. And we would like to open the subject a little bit. But before we do it, there's one question I would like to ask you. When was the moment in your life when you realized you are different?
Oh my God, what a great question. That's such a good question. No one's ever asked me that question. Thank you, ladies, for inviting me and asking such a penetrating question. But you're a homeopath, so I understand why. Honestly, I have to... That's your job. Honestly, I genuinely think it's when I was tiny, like little. I remember getting to the point where I felt my parents were not parenting me, and I was seeing the world in a kind of even more sophisticated way than they were. And I was like, none of my friends are doing this. So I started, I think, literally probably the age of about 8. You know, when you just start to come into that after the first 7 years cycle of consciousness, I was like, okay, so I'm definitely different. I had a lot of kind of sensitivities and fingers in lots of different pies at school. I was very academic, but at the same time I was very mystic. So yeah, forever was the short answer. Forever.
Okay, thank you for that. And one of the first questions I would like to ask you I'm following you on social media, and I saw one of your posts about your struggles and things that you've gone through. You have 5 children. I have no idea how you do it, because you're a mother, you're a woman, you're a wife, and you're a businesswoman. How do you juggle all of these things? How do you keep smiling? Because every time I see you, you're always smiling. And where do you see the difference between running a male business and a female business?
That's a great question as well. And I do think being a mum gives you such a different perspective, because as soon as you give birth, or with my, I have 2 of my own children and 3 children, 3 stepchildren, as soon as you become responsible for another human being, it just changes everything. And I do think not every female business owner is a mother, but they will have some level of nurturing, nourishment. They have this feeling, and I have it very much in my businesses too, to look after, to caretake, to nurture. And that becomes so ingrained in you, like today when I was trying to do some stuff, prepare for this and clean the kitchen, which is unheard of, by the way. It's just that the person that usually cleans it is not very well. So it was just all of the things at once. And you know what? It's such a blessing. I do honestly believe that female-led businesses are multidimensional, because we have to do the masculine stuff, the action, the drive, the stuff to get the sales, but we do all and hold all the emotional stuff. We hold space for others. We're looking after others all the time. We're thinking about what's best. And I do think that has given me quite an edge in a very male-led field that I am in.
That's interesting. I have 3 daughters and 1 son, and when we played board game recently, I noticed something that I relate to business. When my boy plays a board game, all he wants to do is win and make sure everybody else loses. And when my girls are playing, they want to win, but they want to make sure everyone else around them is happy and they win in the way too, so they get the right kind of cards and they get, their go and all of that, so they get joy out of it. Would you relate that to a female and male business as well?
I can't lie, I definitely can relate to that. And I think what it is that I think we, again, as women, we've been brought up with these amazing natural communication skills. And so we get to feel and become empaths a lot of how everybody else is feeling. And a lot of the work I do, the paper I published recently in relational field theory is literally this: relationships are primary. And so often I think females do tend to put the relationship above their own personal agenda, and the guys are, it's only because they haven't developed or had that, I suppose, encouraged in their youth. It's very much about competition and winning, and so they definitely have the capacity to do it, but they tend to go for the prize as opposed to the experience. And I know that women are very much about the journey, so I do think that it's something that when I teach this, I'm very aware of the differences. We've got 3 boys, and I'm trying to encourage them to be aware of the relationship. One particularly is more challenging than the others, and he definitely just wants to win all the time, and it's great, and he does. But I'm just like, what about our feelings during this process of your? And it's just a reminder. But I think again, it's society's expectations of women and men. It doesn't encourage that in men, sadly.
Do you think there's a right or wrong way?
I think again, I keep talking about relational field theory. In my philosophies that I believe do make the world a better place, I do believe the right way is to put relationships first, because that only works if everybody is on board with the fact that we're not separate. If we're putting relationships first and we believe we're separate, that could end up in kind of martyrdom, self-sacrifice, that kind of thing. When we put that relationship and the kind of interference patterns between us and anyone else, us and our audience, us and our clients, us and our business partners, when we look at the field around it from a point of view that we are all in this together, it creates these beautiful electromagnetic patterns in the field, and good things happen. So I do believe that's the right way. The wrong way, I believe, is identity sickness, where we are so convinced that we are alone, we're disconnected, we've got to win and survive. And it's like, for what? What's the big plan? Because we're all going to end up in the same place here. So the identity sickness of separation is rife in business, and that's the thing that I'm trying to change, slowly but surely.
That's interesting. Was it always like this for you, or did you have any challenges at all?
I was so sure I was a man for probably my 20s. Not physically. I'm like ultra femme. I know physically I'm like made like a bird. My wrists are tiny, man. But in my mind, I was very much, as you mentioned my mathematical background. I'm a mathematician. I'm a scientist. I'm a statistician, and I'm very male brained. So logic means a lot to me. I hate things that are irrational. I don't like drama, and I didn't like emotions for a long time. I was just like, I didn't even care about art. I didn't care about beauty. I didn't care about any of these things. I was just like, what works? And let me make sure I'm part of whatever it is that works. And then when you're younger, coming out of with a first class in maths, I thought, let's get the money, shall I? Because that's all that made sense to me. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't care about anyone's feelings. I didn't care about my relationships. I was just like, boys are fun, money is fun. I'll have as much as I can of both, and I don't care. So I spent quite at my early 20s totally identity sick, egocentric. And it was, in one way, I got all the things that I thought I would by doing this, but my soul became bankrupt. I wasn't aware of the cost of that. That's an incredibly extortionate cost to your life force. And I found myself in my early 20s sick, really sick, because we know as homeopaths that body keeps the score. And my body, even though my mind and my ego and my bank account were all thriving, my body went no. And then one day I literally was in investment banking at the time. I tried to pick up the phone in the old days, a phone like that, and I had no strength in my arm. I had no strength. I had to be carried out, just literally like that, normal to no strength. And I was in bed for 6 weeks. And you know what? They couldn't find what was wrong with me. I couldn't move, couldn't walk, could hardly talk, couldn't think. And I really, honestly, truly believe that was a big turning point for me. That was when I was like, okay, so this is not how to do things. I was polarized too much in my masculine and that's not even a gender thing. Too much in the action, zero connection to feelings, emotions. It's terrible, terrible time. So yeah, I'm always warning people about that.
It sounds like a very heavy experience. What helped you to get reconnected with yourself? What helped you to? Because if you're saying that in majority of your life you had had male brain, so for you it was harder to find the original self. So what happened after? So you spent quite a lot of time in bed, like you said, and how it resolved?
Gosh, well, you'll be very glad to hear this. I went to every doctor, I had every test. They tested me for every virus under the sun. They couldn't find anything. And that really began my healing journey. And you know what I'm going to say, don't you? I got nux vomica, I went to a homeopath, but it was my GP that referred me to a homeopath, and which is wild. I mean, I was so lucky for that. And it was during that period I started to learn about homeopathy, and I was like, this works. So what is this? This is not a science, but it is. Now, as you know, 25 years later, I understand it more to do with quantum mechanics. But in those days, 25 years ago, it was very, very difficult to prove. And so I took it. And then I was like, that's not enough for me. I need to learn about it. So then I went and studied, and it changed me. It was nux vomica. I can remember the remedies. Arsenicum album and nux vomica were the thing that I needed. It got me back. And then I became connected to a circle of women, because that's who I was learning with in the Leighton College. So I ended up learning about, you know, sisterhood and feminine energy and art and beauty and magic and all of these things that I had literally overlooked and thought, this is nothing to do with me. I started learning about flower essences and how it affects the mental, emotional bodies that come, you know, that we are part of. And I ate it all up, and it changed me so much that I literally, in the height of my very successful, I was being kind of groomed to management in the investment bank. I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm leaving to become a homeopath. And that's when I left London. I literally just left everything. So I went from one extreme to the other, because ADHD is one of the parts of me that tends to do that. So I like taking risks.
You never forget your first remedies, do you?
No, you don't.
It's just like with the first boyfriend, you never forget them. Same with the remedies. You never forget remedies that changed your life and turned you. It almost seems like we have to stick to one extreme, and we almost like forget that we have both sides in us, you know, feminine and masculine. But since we are born in, you know, female bodies, we're kind of following the feminine side. And for our listeners, you know, there will be a lot of women listening to this. Is it possible for a woman who is somebody who looks after the house, after the children, and cooks and cleans and all that, is it possible for women to build successful business and be independent and still be happy in the marriage?
Yes, absolutely. Without a doubt. And to me, I know I've gone really deep into the masculine side of business, because that's who I am and it resonates with me. But I teach a lot of people. I have a lot of people in the community that you're in that are well-being consultants, and people that are doing this because it is not just a business, it's their gift to the world. So I think the female founders that I know, a lot of them are working from the heart, And so it's not like money is the main driver. If people end up becoming single parents, which I did a couple of times actually, I had to earn money. So I locked into that masculine drive. But let me tell you something so powerful about women. The biggest problem or biggest obstacle in a business is not the business idea. Usually people are overwhelmed with amazing ideas. It's not even the delivery. People are talented. People have got incredible talents. It's the marketing, the sales. And I was just talking to someone today. We buy emotions. We're only scared of one thing. We think that we're scared of loss and death, and we're not. We're scared of our feelings about it. We're scared of our emotions. And so in exactly the same way, we are driven by our emotions. So as a woman, you are an emotionally intelligent creature naturally. I'm not saying men aren't, they just have to work it a bit more because they don't have the natural communication skills. But we definitely have an edge when it comes to emotional awareness. And when you're selling, you can lock into selling the emotion. And I think so many female founders or female businesses are trying to do business in a male way. Making sales calls in a male way, pushing and hustling and that action and drive. Actually, when you lock into this particular thing is going to give you freedom, peace, and emotional clarity. These are the things that people connect to. So I've seen people make multiple millions, incredible women doing this, and be at home, because the best bit about being your own business person is you can. I've the whole time my children have been growing up, from when I was pregnant, I was doing maybe from an hour's work a day to 4 hours work a week, perhaps, and earning multiple six figures. It's 100% possible. All you got to do, I say all you got to do, is to figure out the thing that people need. You've got to understand what people need. So one of the other things I will say quickly about female founders is that they often, because they're heart-led and they want to do the thing that brings them joy, we have to remember that business is an agreement. It's a monetized relationship. So we mustn't think about too much what we want. We need to think about what other people want. And this is where men are brilliant, because they will study economics and supply and demand. Unfortunately, sometimes women will think about, what do I want to do on a daily basis? How do I want it to fit into my lifestyle? And they think too much about themselves. We need to put both of those things in place. And when you do, you balance your masculine and feminine, it is magical. So you absolutely can do it. I've done it. I'm living proof.
Would you say it's something like find something that people need, but you're also good at? Because it's very difficult to sell something that you don't really like,
Yes.
or you're not very good at, something that you believe in.
Yeah.
So it's the combination of
There's
those
a great
two, would you say?
Absolutely. And this is a great, somebody, I don't know who said this. I'm going to quote somebody and I can't remember who said it, but you buy as you sell and you sell as you buy. If you wouldn't buy it, don't even try and sell it. You've got to love it. And this is the thing, when people are, so often people go into new businesses or have business gurus teach you a new business and they're like, this is so, do X, Y, Z and it will get you money. If you don't care, you can't lock into the emotional side of it. You can't sell it. So you have to think about, I need to definitely do my market research and 100% back up demand, but then allow it to align or resolve it to align with you and your strengths. This is why I absolutely love people with neurodivergence and/or/AI, because the pattern recognition of gurus and teachers or AI, you can put in, these are my skills and talents. What is out there that matches? Boom. And that is what coaches have been doing forever now. You can do it yourself at home. You literally have super intelligence at your fingertips to say, these are my skills and what does the world need? Give me actual market data to back that up, because so often I see with my female founders, they do this part, they do not do that part.
With the AI bit, I couldn't agree more when you said AI, and I'm like,
I knew you'd like that.
I couldn't agree more, because this is the way to find the right piece of a puzzle. And whilst we're discussing women in business, is it not a man's way to do it, or it's a female way to do it? When you start going into the market research and segmentating the need and demand, is it the male's way to do or a female one?
Well, for me, males and females have certain crossovers. If I go back to tribal like basics, a male has to scan, as particularly ADHD is a brilliant hunter quality. They have to scan, where next to go to find water, where is it going to be safe to set up camp. So they're always taking in information and analysing it. However, the female is also scanning. She scans for dangers. She's always thinking a few steps ahead of how is this going to affect, when do I need to cook this? When do I need to make this happen? When do I need to feed? So you're both constantly in data analysis mode. You just scan things differently. So for me, market research like this, I think this is why AI is so brilliant. You don't have to do too much of the analysis. A lot of the analysis, the filtering, the systemization, I would say is quite naturally a male skill, a masculine skill, but now we don't have to do that. I personally love that because I have a very masculine brain. This is not gender. This is sides of the brain. You know what I mean? So for me, both types, both masculine and feminine, are always taken in and researching. But we tend to worry more because we anticipate. We're in anticipatory arginate. We are very much anticipatory anxiety because we have to be, because we're keeping the family safe in our homestead.
Yeah, and business is also like your baby. If you don't
Yes.
treat your business like your baby, it's not gonna work. It's not a money-making machine. It's great that if you make money through it, but it shouldn't be the focus. Well, from my point of view.
No. I mean, I know a lot of wealthy people. And I know a particular friend of mine, he's made hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds. But his satisfaction, his joy, his legacy comes from a particular business that has an emotional side to it. So no matter what we think we are doing every time we wake up in the morning, we're chasing a feeling, we're chasing an emotion, and we can invoke those emotions through so many different means. So for a lot of people, men and women, they'll chase the money because it helps them feel better about themselves. It helps them feel validated. It helps them feel worthy. It helps them feel they're making a difference. It helps them feel that they are being a good parent by supporting and providing. You can feel like that in other ways as well. So I don't see, because I see people from bankrupt to billionaire, I don't see hardly any difference in terms of the emotions people are chasing or avoiding. You're only chasing an emotion or you're avoiding. There's nothing else in between, but it is just the emotion. So if you can master your emotions, you can be as happy and healthy and delighted as a billionaire, even if you're, just making ends meet. It's 100% internal job. It always is.
When we were actually thinking about creating another business, I had this illusion that I would like all the women to be on the same level and we all help each other. And I don't know if you're aware of a Boston marriage kind of structure where we're all on the same level, we just kind of helping each other. And I shared that idea with Daria and she just looked at me and she was like, I could see her subtitles. She was like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And I know she had a question about vertical and horizontal hierarchy. So Daria, if you don't mind, can you please ask Liz about this question?
Thanks, Gunal. It's one of my favorite topics. And when we had that situation with secondary business, we met various players, let's put it this way. And the idea of horizontal hierarchy, horizontal power distribution is in theory amazing. And I think it can work practically only if you have the right kind of people, because otherwise, unavoidably, if you have wrong number of people and wrong kind of people, then unavoidably it becomes horizontal, because there is always one person who says, oh no, you do it this wrong, we need to do this my way. And as soon as you have the statement, the whole idea of horizontal power distribution is completely eliminated, and then you automatically go to the vertical one, which is very masculine way of doing things, and it's very conservative as well. Undoubtedly it does work. Historically it's been working, but today I don't think it should be working anymore. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think about power structures a lot, actually. Especially, again, relational field theory to me is a political philosophy, and to get the right result for, we can't, you know, there's a lot of us. What we do need is these kind of nodes in the field. We need like groups that are all working together. So we do need, I do believe we can't in any system have no leader. There has to be some kind of leader, even if it is the culture, but that means it have to be so strong, so powerful as a culture that nobody would argue against it. This is why there's one of my I interviewed someone a little while, a couple of years ago, about AI government, because they obviously don't put their emotions in it, and people are like, oh my god, that would be terrible. But then we think, would it be worse than what's happening right now? Really? You know, give them a set of cultural rules. Would it be any worse? Probably not. But I agree. I think there has to be some kind of leadership. And again, going into, I like to look at ancient civilizations that worked, you know, when there was a golden age before things went wrong. I like to look at ancient Egypt and things like that. Having a leader or a council of leaders you respect, that you love, but that also had, we need to have empathy with the subjects. What I have noticed is in the world of entrepreneurs, which is my world now, I don't really speak to anyone outside of that world apart from my family. We take on those ideas quite easily, but a lot of people do not want to lead. They do not want to have any responsibility. They are very happy to be told what to do, which upsets me because I couldn't imagine it. But for them, it's peace. For them, it's a life well lived. So who are we to take away that choice for them not to be equal in a situation? So I don't know if you're familiar with human design, but it talks about different kinds of you know, yeah, you got generators, manifestors, projectors, and I think the projectors couldn't think of anything worse. And they want some beautiful leadership that they can then work behind the scenes and really impact it. But as long as, I think the key is not necessarily the way that things are operated. I think we need that vertical. I suppose it's like a cross, really. We need the vertical and horizontal, but I think more than that, we need to ensure that everyone's valued the same. So we can have different roles, like the vertical leadership role, but you absolutely have to value the people here as well. So it's more to do with reward. I think some of the rewards people get at the top are out of proportion and ridiculous. And even in the world of celebrity, there's celebrity connections in my own family. It seems totally, utterly out of proportion. It's not to say that people that lead shouldn't be rewarded well. They should, but it needs to be in proportion. And people, you know, we've got people on the front line, like, that have no say in the companies they work for, like in the NHS and the nurses and the doctors, that are not getting valued as they should. So I think it's a value question as opposed to the operations. The operations, I think, probably does need the vertical to a degree.
Because quite often when we put these kind of groups together, what happens is the idea of being in power sells it to everyone that they want to be in power without realizing how much responsibility and what hard work it is to be, you know, that leader. And you have to have that skill to be a leader. Not everybody's born to be a leader. And I think sometimes egos can get in the way without even realizing that you will be are you going to be able to cope with that? You know, are you going to get overwhelmed within 2 weeks? that's basically what happened with us, that everybody was just pulling blanket towards themselves rather than working for greater good, for let's just make this baby grow up. Just like parenting, we're not saying who is more important than the other. It's all about what's important is the child. Let's make this child survive.
Yes, yes. You know, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you now.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
That's exactly what I believe. So in the quantum field, the way I see the reality is we've got a quantum field and we're all connected. Absolutely everything is connected. And you've got these nodes that seem to be, kind of reaching out of it, seem to be so separate. And so every time we do anything, the way we drink our water, the way we speak to another person, the way we stroke our pets, whatever it is, it has an effect on the field, the interference patterns between us. And it's the field is the baby. We need to do what's right for the field as opposed to what we think is right for our ego. Because our ego, I mean, I know a lot of people say negative. We need the ego as a tool. We absolutely we can't destroy the ego because then we would end up, disassociating from our sense of self. But I so agree with you. It's about what's happening between them. And like, if you imagine any situation, business, parenting, whatever, the pattern between us being the child, I do that because I see the etheric world, I see it as a spiral. If that spiral is spinning off too fast or completely contracted, it means that the relationship between us is not going well. So many of us can't see past the end of our own nose. And I know when we're in an emotionally triggered state, myself, I will go back into my ego and I'm like, I'm protecting myself. I don't care about you or the field or the baby anymore. But that never results in a good outcome ever.
Daria, do you have anything to add to this?
I'm processing the amount of information right now, and I'm thinking this is a generally complex challenge. Complex not in a complicated way, complex in terms of multi-layered. The only question I want to ask is how to survive, how to disconnect yourself from the noise, because what we have, you've been mentioning how it affects the field around you, but at the same time the field affects you in the same way.
Yes.
And it's very easy to be drawn to this effects because the social media, the noise, the lawn is greener on the neighbor's backyard, so many different things. And I'm just, the only question that pops in my head is just how? What can we do? How we can bypass this? Not bypass, but how can we make this challenge not as complex?
It's a great question. So for me, and anyone going through life, you end up, pushed and pulled with what's happening, what you believe is happening on the outside of you, and obviously stuff going on the inside of you, your reactions to it, or what your intentions are outwards. And until I became very, very comfortable with the knowledge that we are electromagnetic, the whole show, the entire thing to me is electromagnetic. And what that means to me is, if this is an electromagnetic quantum reality, then if we behave in a way that respects that, we can increase what I call, and I suppose it's a physics term as well, capacity. We can't change what's happening on the outside. We can't stop those noises. We can't change other people. But what we can do is increase our electromagnetic capacity. And the way I like to think about that is what would make... So I started asking myself questions, actually, and I was using AI to help me, actually, last year. I was like, right, if I am a vibrating mass of photons, how do I increase my capacity so whatever the field presents to me, I can process, I can respond with grace, it doesn't cause me pain, I don't lose my sense of self, all of the things you want to stay sovereign, right? And I just ended up building layers and layers of behaviours that I call electromagnetic hygiene. So there are things I do today that I've never done before, and at the age of 47, I'm stronger and more able to cope with physical, mental, emotional, etheric, let's say, threats because you can't stop that. My life isn't perfect, but what I do have is increased capacity. So for me, a very simple one I'll just share with you. I won't go through the whole As Good as Life forever, but one of the most important things to me is water. Now, we all know homeopathy relies on the coherence and the memory of water. It relies on that. We are water. Water is everywhere. It's the most coherent substance on this planet. So I was like, so I have a shower every day. I drink bottled water. What else can I do? And I was literally told, for me personally, to swim. I get in the water and discharge my negative, or when you said when things are going wrong, whatever, static. For me, static. I have to discharge it. So we have so many electromagnetic tools around us. So we have our crystals, we can put our feet on the ground. But for me, the thing that made the difference was getting submerged in water every day. Now, I know that's not practical for everyone, but I've become addicted to it. I can tell my energetic system, if I'm stressed out, there's too much happening, I'm overwhelmed, I'll get in the water, 20 minutes later, come back out, I can cope. And I'm like, why? Because that life force, that chi, the water itself has enough coherence in it that it causes a chain reaction. Coherence and beauty and balance is contagious. So your best friend for everyone is water, but it has to be, okay, it's chlorinated water in this case, but when you drink your water as well, structured water, crystalline, beautiful, perfect water, you're going to only get that from a very deep well that's never even looked at the sun. If you're lucky enough to live on an estate like that. I've got a friend actually that does have a flipping well on her estate, and she drinks this amazing water. However, the next best thing is spring water in glass bottles. Next best thing, spring water in plastic bottles. Now, the worst thing, tap water. I stopped tap water. My IBS fully went away. I started, as I said, I started being in water, around water as much as I can. But also I started, can I say this? Programming my water. So I literally, exactly the same way as I'd write a homeopathic remedy and put it under a glass, I started doing that with my water. So for me, we can increase our capacity for life, the field, through electromagnetic hygiene. And so there's millions of different ways, but that to me is the thing I think that made the difference. And it's so simple. It's people are like, that can't be it. You can't create a program out of that. And I'm like, well, it's the truth. So there are many things, but this is number one.
Did you see there's a lady in Australia? She is looking at water and what water does actually. It is incredible. Where she takes one egg from the hens that were grown in the boxes, and the structure of that eggs, of all of those eggs, is like very broken and doesn't look very good. But when you surround that egg with all the eggs from free range and organic eggs, that structure of that egg changes as well. So how beautiful is that? Just
No
having
way.
the right kind of people around you can heal you from
Yes.
inside and outside.
I think it's Veda Austin is her name, and she takes photographs of water, before and after, and she'll put, like you said, she'll put a ring or something, like something that belongs to someone. Like psychics often take jewelry and then they read the energy, and I'm like, I used to think that was rubbish in the old days. Now I'm like, okay, I'm open-minded to this, and you can literally photograph the crystalline water and see this for your own self, and she encourages you to go and do it. We are only, just like the brain, we do not know anywhere near enough about how the brain is this incredible tool. We're not using anywhere near it. Water, I think we're going to find in the future, especially when we get better at quantum mechanics and more discoveries, we're going to be like, the answer was under our nose the whole time. It's just magical.
It is absolutely magical. And sometimes I charge my water under the moon if it's a full moon.
Oh,
And yes, and you can leave it on the sun as well on your windowsill, and it does charge. If you're feeling a bit under the weather, it does help. I don't need to know how it works. If it helps me, it helps me. Call it placebo if you want, but who cares?
Yes. If it works, it works. And you know what? When I think about, oh, sorry, darling, I didn't mean to talk over you. When I think about the more I research into quantum theory as opposed to relativity and big physics, quantum theory, it gets very weird down there. It really gets very strange down there. And everything that we think, even things like placebo. You know, I've published 10 papers on comparing placebo effects and homeopathy, and you can look. People can look that up if they want. It's quite it's kind of boring to read, but you know, it's there. Placebo has an effect. Why? Does it mean it doesn't work? It's using the power of the mind. And the power of the mind is changing, it's the observer effect in quantum reality. So we have got such a small access, perception wise, to what reality is. We know theoretically there has to be 11 dimensions for this multiverse to be as it is. 11 dimensions, and we have a tiny, tiny part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we can see with our eyes, let alone all the other things that we can detect in different parts of us. And so for us to ever say this works or this doesn't work is highly arrogant. We have no idea what works. But we know how it feels when something seems to work, and that's what I follow. I'm aware that there's so much I don't know, but I follow the white rabbit to where things are working, just like homeopathy. It works. I don't know how it works. I think I know now, but I don't actually know. Don't care. Just keep following it.
So what are you suggesting is that homeopathy works? That weird stuff that nobody can explain actually works?
100%.
What role does
100%.
what role does
A
homeopathy play in
1,000,000%.
your life?
For me, you know what, I have to quickly tell you the story. When I did go to this homeopath to help me with a particular problem, the thing that made me go, oh my goodness, was that I had lifelong, you know, into my early 20s, I had asthma. And she'd given me arsenicum and natmur and natsbalm and I remember the prescription. And I was thinking, so I got better, I was able to walk and move, and I ran for the bus and I went to get my inhaler out because I always, you know, it didn't take me much to get asthmatic. And I took it out and I was like, I don't need it. And I couldn't understand how that could happen because we did not talk about that at all. Or perhaps she took up my history and maybe she did. But the fact is that was the first time I was like, I understand what holistic medicine is now. It's not about a symptom. It's about the whole system. The whole system is electromagnetic. It's voltage. The higher, not too high, but the more balanced and flowing the voltage is, the more things can flow in and out of you. And when things get stuck, that's a problem. And that's where I believe homeopathy comes in. It comes in and it unsticks those things. It's voltage through water. And so this is just my humble opinion. But I remember going, okay. So if you think about what any system needs, a balanced flow of energy coming through it in one way or another. There are millions and millions of things out there that are unexplainable, but you can see now why. Yeah, of course that's going to increase the voltage. Even today, when I talked to somebody about how beauty. Do you know the most powerful effect in the human body in terms of healing? That's not a drug or not kind of talking therapy or anything like that. One of the most healing effects in the human body, if you're going to put a sick person somewhere, is to have them look at something beautiful. So they put they measured hospital beds next to beautiful vistas and views and beautiful nurses and beautiful, you know, things around them. They healed quicker. And one of the there's another study, I can't remember the names of the people in the studies, but I can share them with you so you can back all of this up. So that was one study. Another study found that the emotion that invoked the fastest heart rate regulation, nervous system regulation, healing responses was awe, wonder. It's that feeling of looking at something and going, oh my God, that wonder has a massive positive effect on the body. And for me, a positive effect is like a positive charge. It's voltage, it's life force, it's chi. It's the it's the thing that in homeopathy we're trying to constantly,
Vital force?
you know, vital force. Thank you. I couldn't get the word. It's the vital force, and a system will thrive if there is enough vital force flowing, not stuck or not too much, whatever. So yeah, I'm open to everything.
Liz, do you think that homeopathy is for everyone? In my utopic world, I think sometimes how wonderful would it be if everybody would have access to homeopathy and we didn't have to drag ourselves up to our eyeballs with all kind of medication. Do you like in reality, in this real life, do you think homeopathy is for everyone or it's only for the chosen ones?
No. Undoubtedly, I think it's for everyone, because not only is it for everyone, I did some studies and we worked with some vets, you know, and we worked with, so we did some research on animals and fantastic results, you know. So if it can't, for me, I think it's such a terrible shame that so many people in the Western world don't understand it. We have so many people, obviously we've got India, we've got Europe, they understand it, they respect it, and other people do not understand it or have access to it because it gets, I remember when I first trained as a homeopath, my mother-in-law at the time, she kept bringing me little cutouts of newspapers saying another homeopathic hospital in England has closed, or you know, and there'll be somebody saying something negative about it because we're not confronting big pharma when we talk about this. What we're doing is showing people there are ways that can be congruent. We always had to create our studies under CAM, like complementary medicine as well, obviously for obvious reasons. But I absolutely would love to see homeopathy in, you know, labour wards. That they give the teething powders, Nelson's teething powder is homeopathic. They're fine to give that out. And it's like, well, why are we not doing it for the big things? Why are we not continuing that journey with homeopathy? It's not just for pregnant women or just for babies or just for the infirm. It's kind of landed in those kind of demographics because of its safety, because there's no chemical effect. Great. I mean, that's brilliant. But there's a hell of a lot of us that don't know about it that can take chemicals. But you know what? We kind of like to find out about homeopathy too. So one of my greatest wishes is that we become aware of it and not have this huge prejudice about, I want to know how it works before I can do it. We don't know how aspirin works. We still don't know how lots of things, lots of drugs work. So why are we so obsessed? And the other thing as well is that as somebody that has been involved in peer review, RCT studies, as a statistician, trials, designing studies, I tell you the limitation and why we're always going to struggle with this is because it's not a generalized medicine, it's an individualized. And unless you can show me two exact same people with exactly the same body, the same vital force, the same field, the same, you are never going to get enough to have a sample size to give you the evidence that would work on a chemical basis. So it's kind of, we're fighting in the wrong arena here. Anecdotal evidence absolutely needs to be taken as seriously, if not more, than the gold standard of RCT. I don't think it's ever going to work for homeopathy. Not yet, anyway. Not until we've got the quantum mechanics.
This is very fascinating because I'm as a data person, it resonates with me really, really well. And what surprised me so much in relation to homeopathy is that when someone says, oh, placebo, but placebo is in allopathic medicine as well.
Yes.
Different studies confirm different numbers, but on very safe number to say is 20% of respondents have placebo. With the placebo, they get and feel better. So why is that okay to have placebo effect in traditional allopathic medicine, and homeopathy is suddenly not okay?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, this is it. This is why when someone says it's placebo, I'm like, brilliant, bring it on. I'd rather it was placebo, because that means I don't have to take something into my body that's, you know, give me the placebo. And you're right. And there's also, you know, the therapeutic relationship as well. We have to have that in part of this. One of the biggest challenges with studies of RCT style gold standard is, who is the homeopath? How are they delivering it? The therapeutic relationship in the field, as I said, between you and another node, you and another person, that in and of itself has a massive, huge effect. Do they trust them? Are they in a state of fear? Or does this person regulate their nervous system so that they can open themselves up to the remedies, the obstacles that may be in their way? These are important parts, and they can't. You just can't grab hold of them in the same way. And I fully agree. I learned about I can't remember how to say it now. Iatrogenic disease or deaths. Iatrogenic deaths are one of the highest causes of death, and people don't know what that means. It means caused by a medical profession. Yeah, look that up. That is
Wrong diagnosis.
Why have they called it? Why have they called it that?
Medication.
Yeah,
Yes.
and just in the same way, you can have the placebo effect, negative, positive. You have doctors and nurses saying people are going to live when they got the diagnosis wrong, and they do live. And people saying they're going to die when they got the diagnosis wrong, and they die and they were fine. There's nothing wrong with them. This is the greatest, medicine cabinet in the universe. So we can't disrespect it by just going, it's just placebo. It's a big thing.
And I've heard a lot of stories when people go and, when they, at some point of their life, get cancer, for example, and they don't want to say no to traditional medicine, the conventional medicine, let's not call it traditional, allopathic medication, but they also want to use something else just to be able to help themselves and cope with all the side effects and everything. And oncologists tell homeopaths that, can you please not give homeopathic treatment because it will interfere with my treatment? So my question is, hang on a second, if it's a placebo, it shouldn't do anything, right? But if you say it interferes, then it means it does do something. So make your mind up. Which one is it? It doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I've actually heard those stories myself, and I it's the same with I can't, because I'm not a qualified vet, I can't give an animal a homeopathic remedy. Why? It either works or it doesn't. Make your mind up. If it's illegal to do so, tell me why. It's not to replace it. I cannot legally give or prescribe to an animal because I'm not a qualified vet.
Liz, I can take it further. If you're a qualified vet, it's against the law for you to prescribe to an animal. Homeopathy, it's against the law since 2023, I think.
No way. Yeah. I did not know that. Oh my God.
No matter what you do, you get it wrong, okay?
And who is great? Who? Oh, okay, calm down. Who is in their office or company and going, we need another rule against homeopathy? Who's doing that? Like, why? Leave us alone.
Who is a good answer.
Who cares? Who cares that much to keep changing the damn rules? I did not know that about animals. That's actually wild. And oh gosh, oh my gosh. But this gives me hope, just in the same way that anything good, anything powerful is oppressed, just like the feminine. We're coming back. We've been oppressed for too long. We are not the weaker sex at all. We have so much wisdom and power, and our men need us. Our kings need us. There's so much destruction in society now. I look at society in lots of different ways, obviously health, but business, but I also look at love and relationships. I look at the relational field with parents, and I touch all of these things in my world. And the dating world is bereft, because our kings and queens can't connect anymore because of this digital crazy world that we're in. And the reason I just bring that up is that we've got to find a way of working back together, because even the men know this patriarchal society doesn't work. They're suffering too. I met an amazing guy the other night, and he said to me, because of the way the world is now, the celebration of and the worship of beauty standards, which I don't believe are beautiful, by the way. I think this whole weird, everyone look the same, destroy your body, do these things. I don't think that's beautiful. I think that is commercial. But anyway, he was saying that because men you either really fit, go to the gym, this tiny little outlier, I suppose, on the normal distribution, or you're really, really rich, so it doesn't really matter what you look like. He says 90% of men are ignored. they're invisible. And I thought, wow, I didn't even know that. So they're unhappy too. So we've got to bring our kings back. You know, we've got to help people understand that they're valued and they're valuable, and they don't have to be millionaires to get a great. You know, they don't have to look like they're Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is ridiculous, and we have lost our way hugely. So anything that helps them, I was going to blast off some remedies there, but I realised I shouldn't, because I'll start prescribing to your audience. Like a podium. Our kings are waiting for us. We need to help them too.
You just can't help it, can you?
I can't help it. Don't take lycopodium as a first remedy, guys. That's always the rule. You don't open a case of lycopodium.
Yeah, so but if it's always good to have a homeopath in your circles to reach out to in case you feel like, you know, something is not right here.
Yeah. Blessing, huge blessing. And
How
that's why
would
I'm
you...
so grateful for times.
Is it okay for me to ask one more question before we finish?
Of course. Yeah.
With so many different areas in our life, we have love, we have health, we have money, we have hobbies, work, and all of these, you know, with the life circle. I don't know if you ever seen the life circle thing where you have to kind of mark it.
Yes.
How the hell do we keep it balanced as women? Because the pressure, there's so much pressure trying to be successful as a mother. Make sure you have at least a few minutes a day, you know, talking to them. You want to be able to be a friend. You want to be healthy. You want to eat well and cook from scratch, and you want to make money. And it's just, it feels like a chore rather than, well, how do you do it?
Yeah, I totally get it. You know, again, I think one of the things for me that's helped me massively is this. In my theories, in my philosophies, I have something called the quantum trinity. And it is basically three dynamics that are working constantly through you, through your unique harmonic pattern. So I believe we've all patterns, we've all got a harmonic ratio, a number, a frequency. And then we've got these three things that work through us all the time. So one of them I call the urge, which is your vital force, basically. And it's everywhere. It's the sum total of all energy everywhere in the multiverse. It is the driving force. It is masculine fire. So that's one. And then two is the field. So the field is like the dark womb of possibility, probability. Everything that's ever conceived, literally, is there. It's already been designed. All we do is reveal it, and the way we reveal it is through the third dynamic, which is the witness. The witness is pure awareness, full awareness of all things everywhere. And some people call that angelic, some people call it source, whatever it is. But the observer effect, we know from a quantum mechanics point of view, we need to have some kind of recording mechanism to collapse quantum clouds into reality, the observable reality. So I know I've just thrown a lot of word salad at you there, but my point was this: how do you manage it all? The way that I manage it all now is to understand this. I'm not in control. I'm not in control. I'm not designing the field. I am not out there making things happen. I'm revealing that which is already resonant with my harmonic ratio. And so when I start to so I've got this protocol called NOSA: notice, own it, soften, and then act. And so when I'm going through life, the first thing I wake up in the morning, instead of going, what do I need to do now to make stuff happen? I'm like, okay, where do I need to resonate? And what do I need to do to electromagnetically be hygienic, to be at the highest frequency I can be internally, so that I magnify and magnetize that which is resonant with me? Because we always 24/7 are manifesting and magnetizing things to us that we're resonating with. So when we're anxious, we get more of that. When we're depressed, we get more of that. When we're happy, we get more of that. It's not easy and it's not foolproof, because there's always lessons to learn. We're not here to have just a good time. I wish we were, maybe in the next lifetime, maybe in the golden age. In 3 years' time, apparently we're coming into a golden age. But for me, I let go of control, which is really, really hard to do. But what it takes is trust that the field will deliver nothing that isn't for me. And so when something comes up, my job is not to control it, it's to expand capacity to say, this is mine, I notice it, I own it, this is me too, and now I'll act in coherence. And that consistently brings me good results. And so, for example, today, when my daughter was like, I need you to take me somewhere. And I'm like, well, actually, I've got a podcast to be on in an hour's time, and it's half an hour to get there and half an hour to get back. So the chances of me getting back without any trouble. And I started to want to control it. Shall I change the outcome for her? Shall I call you guys? And I started to get tense. And then I remembered, this is a situation, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Let's open capacity here. And I softened. And then I could act in clarity, then I could act in coherence. And I just did a few calculations. There's no traffic here. I checked Waze to check the traffic. And I was like, it's going to be absolutely fine. And it was. And I just keep doing that. I keep letting go of more and more control, because actually that is divine feminine, is to trust that urge, that life vital force, that king that is driving us, I believe, to higher and higher levels of coherence all the time. It doesn't want us to manage things. It wants us to expand our capacity, to enable us to see the beauty in everything, because I really do believe there is. I really believe there's beauty in every situation, and that's what I look to. That's my guide.
That is so
Thank
beautiful.
you. So thank you for your wisdom. It was incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. What a great conversation.
I have one last question which we ask on every single podcast now, and this is our go-to question. So we discussed quite a lot of things, and we are extremely grateful for your advice. If we get back to the homeopathy for a second, should we judge a therapy by mechanism, evidence, or results people experience?
Oh, you know what I'm going to say? Results.
Obviously.
Always results. I love anecdotal evidence, and I would take that over any study, mechanism, quantum mechanics. You show me the result, and I'll feel it in my heart if it's true.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. It was lovely to see you. It was lovely to hear you as well. Your advice and your experience is absolutely amazing. It's very rich, and everything you have told us today is actually inspired me. And I'm pretty sure that Gunilla is inspired with me, because I can see her smile.
Oh, you're so wonderful. Thank you so much. And you brought me a huge amount of inspiration today as well. I'm going to go and pop a few homeopathy pills I've forgotten that I need.
Thank you, Liz. It was lovely to connect with you and allow us to be part of your field. Thank you.
Thank you.